Just go for it. Are we recording? Okay, good evening, everyone. Sorry, when you're able, if everybody can take a seat, we'll get started. Okay, thank you all for coming out this evening. Yes, recording. We are recording. And this will be available on the city's YouTube page within the next 2 business days, is what we've asked for. So tonight, the way the forum for the meeting is going to go, I have a presentation video to show. I've received a couple of questions in advance of the meeting, so I'll have answers for those and then a slight update. And then the rest of the evening is yours. We've heard from many members of the community asking for a community meeting to be heard. So this evening is a chance to be heard. So again, I'm just going to start with a quick video. And then I'll give some updates, answer a few questions, and then we'll just go one by one on the sign-in sheet, okay?
All right. Want to be on both screens?
Yes, sir.
Can we take this down? It's blocking this whole view.
Downtown Villa Rica is the heart of the city. Mirror Lake community is thriving. Years ago, city leaders dreamed of connecting the two in a way that would bring prosperity to the businesses here and help Villa Rica grow. Through a number of grants and funding projects, the vision is now a reality. Villa Rica is under contract with a development company to connect these communities by building the Mirror Lake Connector. That roadway will have an impact on residents in the area and has caused division in the community.
We've received mixed feedback with the project. There are certainly some concerned residents that feel as though they didn't have an opportunity prior to really give their feedback.
Diana DeCento, the interim city manager of Villa Rica, wasn't part of the planning, but now she's at the center of it.
This project started out very strong, had a lot of positivity with it. There was a lot of planning that it went into this. I mean, years, probably decades into planning for this future connection road. Right now, we are experiencing fundamental growth and development. Most notably, we are experiencing a lot of growth in our connection from our Douglas County side to our Carroll County side, where we have a new Publix and commercial development built. Part of the road is already constructed, and that is on the public side. Once called, I believe, Mirror Lake Boulevard, has now been dedicated to the city as Villa Rica Parkway. So that side of the construction is complete. It was completed earlier this year. The second side of the connector has had its challenges.
The challenge has come from residents on Darden Street. There are 4, possibly 5 homes here that would have to be purchased from the owners to make way for the connector.
The process ultimately resides in negotiations, and our hope and desire has always been to come to a comparable agreement with the property owners so that we can get the project done and compensate fairly for the price paid in losing a home in the process.
Other homes in the area may also be affected, as part of the lots might be purchased as well.
We're trying to be very intentional in terms of limiting the number of homes impacted, as well as maintaining the least environmental impact on the community as possible.
DeSanto admits city leaders could have done more to educate residents about what was happening.
I think the city tried to start too many projects simultaneously. People were receiving notices about permanent easements and right-of-way acquisitions and did not understand what was happening in their community. And ultimately, in the absence of good communication, most tend to turn to negativity.
DeSanto wants to be sure from now on the city is proactive and open every step of the way.
The city didn't knock on doors. There were words that were probably used that the community may not have understood where the road was going. It's called an East Side TAD district. Well, if you don't know what the East Side TAD district is, you don't know that you're impacted by it.
Anytime there is road construction, residents are impacted. But city leaders are working on ways to offset the loss of homes and green space by planning a park to enhance the area.
We've got a donation from Norfolk Southern through their Thriving Communities grant. We also have additional funding from one of the developers in the area that built their apartment complex adjacent to the current location of the park. We've actually got a fundraising coach to help with additional corporate sponsorships, as well as a grant application we're working on through the Land Conservation Fund. So there's various sources and moving parts to get that park developed.
The city is also upgrading the water and sewer lines in the area. These efforts may help the community grow in the future, but for now, the project means change, and for some, that will be difficult. While city leaders did hold all the necessary hearings and meetings about the project, and governments have the legal right to purchase property for projects, DeSanto knows at this point, it's really about restoring public trust and faith.
We've tried to dispel rumors to the best of our ability, but ultimately, we're just hopeful that having a community meeting and presenting the plan forward will help resolve some of these communication issues from the past and work together and hopefully restore some trust moving forward.
So that was the initial presentation for this evening. I did get some additional questions that I wanted to go ahead and take this opportunity to answer. One question that I think does apply to a lot of people in the room, they weren't able to make the meeting tonight, and asked if they had questions after viewing this online, could they still submit? And the answer is yes. I would like to, if we could, cap it by the end of the week. That would give me an opportunity to provide a summary to council at our work session next Tuesday. So yes, to all those unable to make it tonight, and to those who are unable to make it to the microphone tonight, you can still submit your questions. You can come by City Hall, you can call, you can email me. I left several business cards out front, and I have a few more with me as well. Another question that I received was pertaining to infrastructure improvements in the Cleghorn-Anderson area. I do have some updates on that. For the Cleghorn lift station, we're looking around June of 2025 for the improvement, and this will include pump and control upgrades. There will be no utility work construction, meaning that everything that's being done will be in the same footprint. So there would be no additional work in the area in terms of additional land. The second is for the water line. Right now, we're working on Church Street, just behind over this way. We're starting in February, and we're thinking that work will conclude by the end of May. So with those dates in mind, we're looking for Cleghorn next, which would be probably around June, July start, with completion date in October or November of 2025. So those are the two infrastructure improvements that we have for the Cleghorn-Anderson community. The next question was relative to TAD and understanding TAD. And I do have a quick, just minute and a half video. Not everything is apples to apples in the video. It talks a lot about tax increment financing, which is essentially the mechanism that a TAD uses. But I do think it kind of helps explain how tax dollars work when it comes to a TAD district. So I want to show that as well. And then we will talk about the playground update.
No. About tags?
So let's say you're a developer who just bought some property downtown. You want to put a grocery store there, but you're not sure you can make it fly, especially because you're going to knock down that abandoned home on the lot and put a glitzy grocery store in its place, causing your property tax values to go sky high. A city council member who also wants a downtown grocery suggests you using tax increment financing to finance the project. What the heck is that? Tax increment financing, or TIF, is a method developers can use to reinvest into their property the higher taxes that they would normally pay when development takes place. The incentive is meant to encourage economic growth and create jobs by allowing developers to pursue projects that wouldn't normally occur if they had to fund the projects on their own. But how do you make that happen? Well, the developer needs to prove to the city and the Tax Increment Financing Commission 3 things. 1, that the area is blighted, or that conservation is needed to keep the area from becoming blighted. 2, that you can't afford the development on your own. And 3, that the project you're seeking to create is going to benefit the entire community. If the 11-member commission approves your project, you get a baseline assessment of your property's value. As you build, the property value will increase, providing money into a special allocation fund that can be used to fund projects like sidewalks or roads in the area. For example, let's say that your property is worth $100,000 right now before any improvements are made. After the grocery store is built and sidewalks and streets are improved in the neighborhood, the increased property value is now $400,000. The extra taxes paid on that additional $300,000 go into the special allocation fund for your district. In addition, your grocery store is producing $20,000 in sales tax annually. That money is split between your district and the other taxing entities in town. This, in a nutshell, is how TIF works. Why are you not investing in taxing? Why are you?
So a TIF is similar to a TAD. It's just it's the actual financing mechanism that's associated with the tax allocation district. But essentially, if the question is what is the benefit of a TAD, it's an economic tool. It's an economic tool for a developer to use. It's an economic tool to spur growth, jobs, and in the community. And the final question that I received was regarding the playground. The best update that I have at this moment in time is that we are still looking at 2 properties. One is a property that the city did own through the Downtown Development Authority that was land swapped with Town Branch, who is the Arbor Valley apartment complex. We are in discussions with them to determine if there is a way that we can maintain the front portion of the property and allow access to the back portion for their future development and maintain the basketball courts and add restrooms in the area that it currently exists, known as Cleghorn Street Park. The second location is a location mentioned in the video, and it is adjacent to the apartment complex where Fortune Parkway is currently under construction. That is the most of the update that I have at this time. When Fortune Parkway is continued down towards Anderson Road, and that is the leg up towards the middle of Anderson Road in the drawing. They have offered to work with the city on grading in preparation for the park in that location, if that is the desired location. So right now, that is the update that I have at this time. We did present a rendering of what the current proposed alternate route that we are working through looks like, and I'm happy to go ahead and start with the public comment sign-in sheet and hear from everyone. And as I stated prior, I will take notes, and we will have a summary made available to your elected officials for the meeting next Tuesday. We'll have 3 minutes each for everyone to speak. We will have a timer running. Jennifer here is going to hold up a sign that says 1 minute, because I realized when I got here that 3 minutes is not helpful to the person speaking, but to the rest of the audience. So you will get a sign lifted at the 1 minute mark. And we will, because we do have a lot of people here this evening and a lot of people that want to be heard, we are sticking strictly to the 3 minute rule, and the mic will end at the end of your 3 minute time. So let's start with Pam White.
Good evening, everyone. Here, listening and looking at the updates on the map is just still quite baffling. because with all the wrongdoing to get a road, Diana, as you presented on your screen, that this has taken place over maybe a decade, but out of a decade, we never received one letter. We was never asked to come to any meetings. When we were coming to meetings, you all, not you because I know you weren't here, the city changed the name of our community so that it wouldn't be identifiable to us of what they were talking about. It's been times that we've sat here and things have gotten passed and voted on because we didn't know that you all were talking about us and our community. Another thing, we have a contract that Leslie McPherson signed and dated in 2023 when she was not mayor. She wasn't authorized to do that, and it makes that contract void. We need someone that's going to make these city officials that have did wrongdoing. They need to make them accountable. From what we see and what we have possession of, no one is trying to make it right. It seems as if no one at the city level, in a sense, can be trusted because everybody got something on somebody. The council got something on Leslie, so they can't file on Leslie because Leslie got something on them. But we're in receipt of it. Okay, we want to file our different ethics complaints, but to do so and have to submit them to our chief of police, we don't know if we can do that because the mayor is telling people she's getting ready to investigate the police department. So see, it just kind of puts us in like we're in a lion's den. We can't get nowhere because everybody up here done got their hands into something they ain't got no business having it in. Do you stop where you're at? If you know you're on the wrong train, get off at the next stop so you don't go on up through there. It ain't too late for the city to stop this. We shouldn't have to take a loss because people didn't do their jobs properly. That's what you're elected for. That's what you get paid for. It's not fair to the citizens. And we deserve our respect. We paid our way. Our homes are paid for. We don't owe the city anything. And we shouldn't have to keep coming up here month for month, basically kind of begging you all to leave our property alone.
Amy McCoy.
Good evening, everyone. Amy McCoy. We've all have come here month after month, and going back, seeing that more than a year, many residents have been coming and asking, demanding for questions that, based on a meeting they had on October 24th, that they needed to keep with the current plan that they had submitted for in order for them to receive the funds. It's amazing that now, tonight, we're finally able to see a plan. Does this plan match up with the plan that was presented for them to get their federal funds? We don't know. I'm now hearing for the park, we still haven't confirmed, but we do know that in January of 2022, they gave the park away for free. 13 acres. When this park was dedicated to this community, they only put so much of that acreage in order to say, hey, you go to the bathroom in the trees. Yeah, that's what was told to a resident. Not even to have ADA accessibility. This park wasn't even given the same dignity that the residents deserve that other parks got. And to now say we may have another option, that we may only get a couple of feet from the original plan, so only an acre or two, because that's all that's really being utilized now, to finally put bathrooms in, I think is it's just completely disrespectful, the lack of transparency that has been made. Several of the residents have asked for representation. I am a realtor. I have helped with a lot of acquisitions the city has taken from different property owners and have been able to find a equitable solution for them and was able to make it happen, actually beating out certain records. But in this case, this city chose to find ways to politically weaponize any resident that was looking for representation to help them through their compensation. Thank you. Help them through their compensation. Which, again, I implore everyone that's here. If you decide to talk with the city, whether it's me or somebody else, have representation. You need to know what you are signing. A lot of these contracts that they were presenting to a lot of you were allowing people to come back in perpetuity, meaning that they could just come back at any time to take the property from you without additional compensation. So I highly recommend that you have legal counsel or an agent there to help guide you through that process. They have not been transparent at all throughout this whole process. I have been here for free for these residents to help guide them through this process, and I'll be here for you if you have questions, concerns, whatever it may be. I'm Amy McCoy. Thank you.
Bill Lofton.
Good evening. Chilly out, ain't it? My name's Phil Lofton. I own the property 113 West Gordon Street, and this is the most current map, I guess, of what the plan is. And from everything that I've seen in the past, this works for me, but it doesn't affect my property nearly as much as it does other people. But I'm just curious, does this look like it's something that would be doable for the community? Because my property's for sale, but other people may not be looking in the same direction. So that's all I had to say. I mean, I want to make sure that I had a list to be able to get up here and talk. But everything's good other than being cold, right? Thank you.
Demita Pritchett.
Good evening. I came late, so I didn't get a chance to see the proposal. My question is this a draft or is this final? We've received so many drafts that it's hard for me to say, okay, we agree to this, because we agree to it, then we get the final. It's nothing like we've seen. So when will we get the final draft, final copy of this? And until that happens, I don't think most of us will agree to it or approve it. So that's all I have to say. Oh, one other thing. With the TAD, based on what you showed, you said the property taxes is really what you're looking for to get the additional money off the property taxes. So that means you're going to have to tear down that community, because that community is elderly, they own their own home, their property taxes are low, and so for you to get the money that you want, you're going to have to really demolish that area. Just to let you know, that's not going to happen, and that's all I have to say.
Raven Pouncey.
My family's property is 216 Anderson Road. I'm disgusted with the city of Villa Rica. Even when you try to explain what the TAD is, you show us a video on the TIF, which is not the same thing. It's constant deceitfulness spread through the city. And that's a problem for me, because we sit here and we see these TAD whatever on the property tax bills, but then you say it's coming from a grocery store or an increase in property value and all this other stuff, but I'm not seeing that increase in property value. So it's like we're paying for y'all to tear up our city and for you to tear up our homes. We owned our property for 110 years in our family. So for me, you're not getting it. I don't care what you pay.
I will say this because a TAD and a TIF are very, very, very similar. It's
Yeah, but it's not the same. You're educating the community on what a TAD is and showing the video.
so a TAD is a district. A revenue bond is issued to help pay for the connector road. Whether you use the word revenue bond or tax increment financing, it's literally the same thing. It's just a different word.
Use the correct
Okay,
terminology.
so-
We're going to be presenting it as an educational tool to the community.
Okay.
Maybe even use the TAD video y'all had on the website that was what was used to actually encourage the economic development in the area. That
Because
helps.
now I'm feeling like I need to go to Google.
I will say this, please come to my office. Pam White did, and we went over her bill step by step to explain exactly what the tax bill is, what a TAD goes to, and the fact that we rolled back the millage rate this year. So the only change in anyone's taxes this year is because a property value was assessed by either a Carroll County or a Douglas County assessor. But I am happy. I don't want to take away from everybody's time tonight, but I would highly encourage anybody, please, if you have a question about your tax bill, please come to our office and let's talk about it. Okay. Doug Lang.
Would you do me a favor and not start the clock yet? I need to understand the rules of the forum here. So it's not a city council meeting. It's a town hall meeting, or
It's a community.
like when we had town hall meetings, we were allowed to ask questions. And I would like to ask some questions. Usually I can only, I just have to understand, this can't be my time. I have to understand first what we're doing. So, for everybody, we need to understand what we're doing. But I want to use my 3 minutes productively. And in town hall meetings, we're allowed to ask questions.
This is not a town hall, it's a community.
Okay, so what,
This was asked for by the community specifically.
So we asked for you to put a picture up here and not explain it? Because I thought that's what the video was, and all I saw was a commercial for you. I don't care about you. I want to know what, explain that road and that map and explain it. That's what I thought was going to be in the video. You're doing aerial footage, who's paying for it? Who? Because you didn't show that road.
How about the timeline on this road? Is that set in stone?
We got all these questions about this picture, and we talking about nothing.
I thought,
You know we don't like it.
I thought we were gonna get to, normally at the council meetings, I ask questions rhetorically, just so I could ask them, but I know I'm not gonna get an answer. Tonight, I came here thinking that we were all gonna get to ask some questions. Not every one of us have to come to your office one-on-one. Do you wanna have 70 meetings? And then nobody else know what I asked you and what you answered me, and nobody else gets to hear it? And so, so am I gonna do the whole, with my whole rhetorical bit and go home with nothing?
Wasted time.
Or is this, I'm trying to be as, always try and be as respectful as possible, but I hate to use the phrase, but this seems more like a dog and pony show than it is a community meeting, whatever you want to call it. Town hall, community meeting. To me, that's semantics. You're just calling it something else so you can shut the microphone off on us. But, just when we get going. I don't know about other people, but I'm nervous when I come up here to talk. And it takes me a while to settle in a little bit and feel comfortable and remember what I'm trying to say. I can't remember what I had for breakfast. And so it's just a little rough. So is there going to be any Q&A tonight?
We ain't getting nowhere with this. That video was perfect. That's nothing to a community.
I mean, I don't mind being held to 3 minutes. I mean, you can't give everybody, in all fairness, I mean, I'll speak for myself. In all fairness, I don't expect you to give,
to take their turn and come up and ask a question, that is fine, but this meeting will conclude at 8 p.m. sharp.
That's fine.
Okay.
But can you should have a meeting if that's all you want to do.
Can you not explain the map though? Take 5 minutes to explain it.
Get the map and explain what you plan to do.
City council has to
We
know
still have
what
an hour and a half.
Okay.
Everybody can vote on it.
Is this an official meeting or just a gap?
Since I've attended city council meetings, there has been a request at every meeting for a community meeting, for the community to be heard. I'm trying to be respectful and provide an avenue for the council to be here and mayor to be here to listen.
They have already heard everything they need to hear.
How we feel.
We want to know about the map.
Information. We want
That's the whole
answers.
point.
And explain.
If
When
you
Mayor
make
Swing, you like to talk, please come up
No.
here and go over the map.
Don't-
please, somebody, I don't care who it is.
Is the question about specific houses? Is the question?
No, explain the plan.
Yeah, like we planning development and you going, and we are developers and you going there and explain. Why today?
Okay. So this plan marries up with current Villa Rica Parkway at the intersection of Cleghorn and Darden. The two intersections marry and the road transitions just south of Darden, above Macaulay, continues down until it connects in at Gordon Street. This is the path that impacts the environment the least in terms of stream buffer mitigation, and this is the path that was recommended by our engineers.
How many homes from Darden Street will be affected from that?
4.
Do you know the address?
I'm sorry. I do not have them off the top of my head, no, sir.
Let me ask you, and for this in particular, has an impact study been done so that we will know what the impact will be on the community? And also, can we get an update on all the other projects that are coming in the neighborhood?
Yes.
Because we know that the one from Old Stone Road, that the city has also promised them another road, but they were gonna try to get the 2-for-1 if you can get this one passed. The one coming from Old Stone Road.
You're talking about Fortune Parkway? Mhm.
It was gonna come across, Anderson Road. Initially, it was gonna connect off Louise Lane and to Darden, this before you got
Okay.
it. So they might not have showed you that. So now, we need to know what's gonna happen. We know that you all put a moratorium up to stop the building and kinda got it up to make it camouflage as if no type of work is being done, but we know that it will resume. We need to know all the different projects coming up, because we do see another extra set of apartments that's supposed to come up in the area that we know nothing about. We've got no type of information on it or anything. So if, I'm assuming if all of this has already been done, that the impact statement should be ready in public record?
So I don't, and I want to make sure, I can tell you this, if there was a cultural resources study done and there's been a traffic study done, but in terms of just like the word impact study,
Like, you know, what's gonna be detrimental to the community? How is this gonna harm this community? Because, and you know, harming it, but also a question is, with this road coming through and, $20 million that you all have put in, what is this community gaining from this? Other than maybe, a men's and a women's bathroom and a park?
so, okay, so that's a lot. Give me just a minute, I'm gonna try and walk through it. Okay. I'll start with Fortune Parkway. Fortune Parkway's here, up to Old Stone. I am not aware of any other connection with Fortune Parkway. And I can assure you, with some issues with Fortune Parkway, there's not gonna be any other connections with Fortune Parkway.
So that's been amended?
But what was the $4 million for?
Fortune Parkway. It is for Fortune Parkway.
For the road.
Yes.
So you paid them to go from the hospital to Anderson Road, $4 million?
Yes.
Okay, said El Villarreal. We
It's,
can't get nothing in our community, you're paying $4 million for less than 2 miles?
Without an impact study.
No impact studies, no nothing.
so when you say, are we talking about traffic engineering? Because all of this came from the 2020 traffic transportation plan, the reunification transportation plan. So there were a lot of studies done specific to traffic impact.
There was a lot of studies done because of what the impact is when you're removing homes to put in 1,500 apartments. You have to think about the environmental impact.
Mhm.
So you have the Pritchards who had to deal with a lot of flooding that's come down from their property, washing out their property, the creeks and things of that sort. That's an impact issue. You think about how often the sewer pipes are constantly bursted out. Again, all that sewer runs down. When I first started speaking up here, the first thing I said was up there about this being the city of gold, and I said this was a city of shit because of the amount of sewage that has to run underneath people's houses because of the impact or the lack of care that has caused such an impact on residents that the city never paid for. The residents have to pay for that constant maintenance that was caused by the city. Not just a couple $100, we're talking about thousands of dollars. So what we're saying.
paying for it again if it happens.
Yeah. So what happens?
And another thing is that, you had 15 people that submitted letters, saying that they were trying to help our community. Mayor McPherson, submitted a letter along with Clint Chance, Mike Dugan, Carol Tomorrow, several more people, Jay Collins. It was so many of them that wrote letters that was saying that they were trying to help the community so that they could get grant money. Okay, I think it was maybe shut down or turned down, but they wrote to the Department of Transportation, Mr. Buttigieg, and to get a favorable outcome. That hurt our community when you have 15 influential people that come up with a letter and they sent it in on behalf of our neighborhood. But it was to hurt our neighborhood. It wasn't to help us, it was to hurt us. And that's what it's doing. So again, my question is, and like I said, in all due respect to you, for you, Diana, I think you are a really good pick for city manager. And I say that with much respect. But someone have to decide to stand and say, this is where it stops. Yeah. Don't trade in your integrity and your dignity for some seasoned crooks. I'm telling you.
It's like the city caused the blame.
And I do want to talk about some of the developments you mentioned, because this is a good opportunity to share information with the community. So So we did have a good meeting with Inline Communities, and they're going to be our neighbors back behind the hospital on Fortune Parkway. They are working on getting their land disturbance permit. They are going to start with their single-family homes, followed with their townhomes. They are actually pausing on their multi-family unit at this time. So that is still zoned. It's a PUD. I'm not saying it's not coming, but they are pausing on that development. For sale, as far as I know, they are for sale. Secondly, so that was the update. Fortune Parkway is well underway, and again, they're working on their land disturbance permit and are looking to start the single-family homes this spring. The Gordon Street development just down here, which is the other one I think you mentioned, Pam. I'm actually meeting with them tomorrow to get an update. I believe they had some potential issues with either their developer or financing. So right now, they did submit a set of plans, but there's nothing final. We haven't moved forward with anything final on that. But with that being said, one thing with that development and with this parkway where I think there could be an opportunity is the two entrance and egresses as it relates to the development and not disturbing the current community. And right now on their set of plans, they have that second exit as an emergency only. But again, when you open up the parkway and the ability for them to get in and out of the parkway, it would almost shut them off to the community and kind of keep the community intact on West Russell. Yes.
Are y'all cutting off the top of Darden Street? Cause I see that road.
So thank you for that. I'm sorry. As the plan shows coming down Louise, yes, you would have a left and a right onto Darden Street, but Darden Street would ultimately become a cul-de-sac, well, kind of a cul-de-sac on one side, and then on the other side it would be Hammerhead.
That's not gonna work. So it's one way in? Not at all. For years, we finally got two ways in. You can't shut it back off.
To make this work, you all, everyone, giving away to make this parkway work. You were giving away to make it work. You come right here, you swing it. You get this right here. You pay for it. You pay them what they want. You push it through.
I will say this, in terms of the final rendering, it was a matter of environmental
You
impact.
don't have to dead end this. An environmental impact, no matter what you do, you're pushing more water to that creek. It's washed her property. She's paying taxes on. It's washed it down. It's gone.
I will say this, I am not an engineer, but I will tell you there is a reason why they,
Better engineers, the ones that got it.
Okay, is this road set in stone? Is there any way to stop it?
thank you for that question.
Hey, that was one of my questions.
Thank you for that question. So we did reach out to all parties associated with the agreements. So the four parties associated with these agreements are Carroll County Schools, Fuquay, and our bondholders. And ultimately, I'll say the same result that I said in October. I think Carroll County and Carroll County Schools would support stopping it. We haven't had that conversation, but I think they would. Now, with that being said, they could also stop their contribution to the bond payment for the road that's been built. The two others, though, are our bondholders and Fuquay Development. And I do not think they would be quite as forgiving of that decision. And ultimately, I think it was said, you know, you have to look at what the financial consequence is. Unfortunately, the way bond counsel explained it, it's not going to come down to a financial decision. That if they take us to court and they sue us, a judge is going to say, you signed, you agreed, you said, if you do not build this road, we will make you build this road. So then we are out time, we are out legal fees, and then we still have to build a road.
Because we're not, everybody ain't poor. No, we're not rich, so y'all get sued regardless. Part that's going to affect us, we're longer the, so we're prepared to go as far as we need to go.
This is not,
That's
set in stone, actually.
Y'all need to put your error and omission in place, because y'all have made a lot of errors.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
So this could fail, this road could fail. As
No,
a project
we could,
review,
but-
it can or it can't.
Regardless, it's gonna be an impact.
Let me say this. We do not own all of the parcels of land at this time. I'm so sorry.
Are you gonna make everything beautiful? You're adding stores, you add this, you add that. All right, now I wanna know if all that's commercial property. Because it's a different price on commercial property.
When you talk about, are you talking about this one?
Anywhere over there you building a road, it's gonna be commercial property.
It's already zoned, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, because there got gonna be more apartments coming up toward 215 Avenue.
You letting them have free house, you don't see stores being built within their way.
1 second. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm observing the room and looking at the temperature, how everybody's feeling about what's getting ready to happen. You guys are not affected, right? So just looking at what's happening here, Villa Rica is gonna be in a lot of trouble. An alternative route was given to you guys. For instance, I just had to pay $1,800 because water was coming up into my house. And it wasn't from my house, it was coming from the city. It kind of connected together, right? That's $1,800. The alternative route, just looking at it, I live on, my mom is on McCauley. There's 4 houses on McCauley. If 4 people are willing to sacrifice their properties, so everybody else is not affected, but you guys are still staring, and you're saying only 4 houses is gonna be affected from Darden, I find that so hard to believe. Because I walked Darden, and I see nothing but house. Right? You're talking about lawsuits from Fuqua, from Carroll County, but you're not putting into consideration if you continue with this route.
Community
The
owned,
lawsuits
yeah.
that's gonna come from these 9 houses that could be anywhere from 25 family members on up. The city's gonna be in a lot of trouble.
Y'all
What you guys are doing right now is not an eminent domain thing, because the mayor said on record, she don't have the stomach to do it. You know that this is a lot of shadiness, okay? There's a lot of shadiness that went involved, and unfortunately, everybody thought that the community was not gonna wake up. When the communities wake up, there are some of us that's willing to work with you guys, right? Because we see the storm. And I'm telling you, as a resident of Villa Rica, those that are in charge are gonna end up moving out of Villa Rica. Because these people, it's not you throwing flame balls into these people's hearts, and they're not getting any answer, just like we took time off from work to come here. And I'm thinking I'm gonna have some type of resolution. It's caused me anxiety for so long. And we keep coming back every time we post something on the door, come. How much more peace you want from us at this point? You guys need to go back. I don't know who did this map. I don't agree with it 100% because I think the impact is too great. And if you look at the park, and you look at all the other stuff within that area, y'all not offering nothing. The only thing that I see with vision is to tear down, rebuild, bring in new settlers, and make it look so pretty to them. But the people that have been here will lose so much. So come together, give us something concrete, stand by it. I appreciate you taking the time and being the one that everybody's throwing a dart at. Because that's a lot. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, really go back to the drawing board. Give us something. Don't say come to this meeting. Don't say this is what it is. We're gonna not put no more input. This is what it is. And if it's something that the community wants, go for it. Because this is a waste of time, energy, and it's gonna be a storm.
Thank you.
You want to take a break and let me ask my couple specific questions?
I have one,
Yeah.
this,
Hang on.
this is gonna be my last question. When this came before, the city council about doing this road, you know, if you want a whole community, okay, it's a thing called purchase, you have to purchase something, okay. I ain't picking on you, Matthew, but I couldn't leave you out, baby. You have a real estate attorney that sits on your council. Did it not ever appear to anyone that we, have these people been notified that this is what we're supposed to do? Have they been notified that we're interested in building a road to come through? That's something that I know Matthew would know has to be done. You just can't wake up one morning and say, hey, this is what we want and it's ours. You have to purchase it. So how does something this severe gets pushed through with nobody asking a question, nobody asked? Because all the meetings we've been coming to, we see Sean Daniels and a lot of them get up here, and the council is very engaged. They're into whatever is being spoken about. And people are asking, have the residents been notified or have this person been notified? Did anybody do that on behalf of our community?
No, sir. Yes, I was notified, and I talked to the law.
Yeah.
Since you just mentioned my name, I would just say that was a failure on previous staff, because my understanding up until really, y'all came to that meeting a good number of was August of 23, or was it earlier than that? And that's when I learned that there was a lot of information that was not, y'all had, to my opinion, appeared that y'all thought we were at the end of the process when really we were at the beginning of the process at that time. So I guess what I'm saying is, my point is, as a council member, I can only say, previous staff just kind of dropped the ball and not really given that earlier notice. So
would that be negligence instead of just dropping the ball with that one category?
I mean, you can cast it or couch it however you want. I'm just going to say drop the ball.
Oh, okay, because see, I had come to a number of city council meetings. I spoke with Tom Barber. Tom Barber would never give me any answers. Our councilwoman, Shirley Marchman, she'll tell you also, because she was the first one to direct me to speak with him.
Mm-hmm.
My first of even hearing of anything going on, I called. No one would answer me.
Right.
So we wouldn't be sitting here. And we even had someone to come to my dad's house and say, hey, I don't know if you all know it, but they're planning on doing a lot of stuff over here. I come back
Pam,
in,
Tom Barber's not here anymore.
that-
I mean, and there's many reasons why he's not. No, I understand the effects of the Thomas too. I get that.
But Tom can still be held accountable. So who's gonna file something?
Well,
You see former officials go to jail every day.
Well, I'm an attorney, but I'm not the city's attorney, so that would be up to the city's attorney. But anyway.
I'm gonna go and take my.
Is it Doug's turn? Who else was on the list, though?
I'll call them next.
Okay,
There's
all right.
about 10 more.
All right, start that clock. Testing. Okay, first of all, you don't need to be an attorney, a real estate attorney, or any kind of attorney to know that you cannot contractually commit to build or do anything on property that you don't own. Number one, whoever did it, I don't care if it's this administration, the previous administration, or 5 administrations ago. It's the city of Villa Rica, and whoever's in charge now, you got the position, you got the responsibility, and it's on your shoulders to undo or correct what previous people have done, period. Second thing I'll say is I love the video. If I didn't know any better, I mean, it's a good video. If I didn't know any better, I think this was a good thing happening in Villa Rica. Unfortunately, I took my head out of the sand and I looked up and I know it's not good for Villa Rica. And it's completely unnecessary. Millions of dollars. You can't come down, you already got the Cleghorn way. You can't come down, you can't come down Connors? I mean, is it really that much out of the way, a quarter mile, that you got to go through all this to save 47 seconds getting downtown? It just makes no sense. So here's some questions. The city, we all saw the letter that the city lost $1.7 million from the state for lack of follow-up or meeting conditions and so on and so forth. almost $2 million blown because somebody didn't do something. Is anybody being held, was anybody held accountable for that? $2 million bucks? No big deal. Is the city going to work with Norfolk Southern to close the crossing there and kill the road that meets the Fuqua contract? It meets that, you have a road that meets the Fuqua contract, and now you're going to close the crossing and kill the road you got? It makes no sense. I don't know where the common sense is with everybody. It's like when I was with planning and zoning. Zone all day long, but spend no time thinking about planning about the future. It should be 95% planning and 5% zoning. And you guys should be doing the same thing here, planning and thinking of the future. And does the council, this is what I really do want to answer, does the council still have to approve this? Does this still have to go before the council and be approved?
Yes, no.
I'm just waiting for his time. I'm just waiting for his. We're now at 7, and there were 10 more people who have signed up to speak. I can't speak to the accountability of ex-staff. I can just tell you what DCA told me, and that was that they would not have awarded us the money had they known initially that we didn't own the property. That was so in terms of accountability, I can't speak to that. No, there's no, because the grant application was made for a rural downtown and connectivity, and that is ultimately what the grant was written for. There,
In the application that they own the property, because we have the contract.
I will say this, it was for construction, so I'll go back to what Doug said about, we'll just say, I don't want to say it that way, let me think. It was for construction. You would not apply for a construction-related grant that had an expiration within a year if you didn't own the property. It wasn't fraud. It was just it was aggressive. It was aggressive. And I will say this, of the 12 cities awarded that grant, it was not fraud. Of the 12 cities awarded that grant, 9 of them were not able to meet the original date of June of 2022. 9 out of 12.
We can only worry about Villa Rica.
There,
And it was entered fraudulently.
I'm not going to speak that way of an employee, but I will say this about the railroad. We are not, there's no plans to close a crossing. So, no plans to close a crossing. Just, that was on Darden. I'm sorry. That was up on the Darden side. It kind of dog ears one way, and then it's going to do the same on the other side. Here, as the proposal. Not here. Does Fuqua own?
Does Fuqua still actually own those developments?
They
already sold them off.
What's that?
Like the Publix, the lands that they have, where they've already started putting all the apartments up.
They are still the owner of record, but it's a different developer.
Right, so where they've sold off an acre here for $1 million, another acre or so for, they sold, I know, two acres for 1.8. I noticed when residents here were willing to offer the compensation request, you guys were saying that their homes were valued less, but you're only looking for the acreage, so I'm just trying to figure out, will the valuations be equitable for these residents?
We're using the same appraiser for all properties.
We've been here for years, and we get the same answers every time. Nobody's telling us nothing different from a year ago. We got a new video, but the same, nothing. It's ridiculous.
It feels like if it was a Mirror Lake community instead of a black community.
we wouldn't be sitting here. What do you mean? Well, it's not all black, it's
And the final question was, will council make another decision on this? Yes, there was a resolution to pause. So to take action, there would be another resolution to take action. To engage in conversation, like to initiate those contracts. That's a really good question. So we'll say hypothetically, everyone involved in the actual right-of-way acquisition agrees. So let's just play with that hypothetical. We would have options in terms of people who needed to stay in their homes a little bit longer versus either vacant homes or homes that were available for sale or otherwise unoccupied. We could start on that end of the construction to give additional time. We would also provide funding for relocation costs if there were relocation costs associated with somebody living in the home. So timeline, that's really tough. We are trying to finalize some of the surveys now and work towards appraisals and work on acquisition. It's a really tough thing to say, depending on if we can't come to an agreement on some of these properties and we have to kind of go back to the drawing board. That's just a really tough one. I would be absolutely shocked if we were, maybe 6 months. 6 months we could get a contractor out there and start working. That's aggressive. They will be notified. They will be notified by a company called BM&K. They're the ones assisting the city on this project. I do not have, like, off the top of my head. I've got some right of way pages for those property. We've never gotten any money from the railroad to close. So we got 2 grants over the last year. One was for public safety and one was for a thriving community. And the thriving communities grant is the one that's going towards some type of rebuilding of the park, whether it be a playground or basketball courts. But it was never for a closing of a crossing. So why don't we do this? Because these don't have addresses on them. They're by parcel ID.
That's right, I can pull it up. We know Darty Street pretty well. Which houses?
So, okay. It's the first 2 at the top. And then I think Haney Development owns this one. And then Tuitt Holdings is this one.
And what about McCauley Street?
Macaulay Street is the one that we are waiting on surveys on, so I don't have those exhibits with me. Thank you. And then, so See, I don't have them by property address. I have them by tax ID. Mm-hmm. I don't think I have Nelson. I don't see a Nelson. Okay, Tewitt Holdings, Homer Danley, Haney Development, Knowles, Christopher Brown. Yeah.
But I'm wondering, how did he do that? Because the water line is on my property. And from when I did my research, Ms. Gladys, she owned that house, she owned the house in the back, because the Joyce's family gave the Glantons that house. So that was supposed to be part of our property. So I'm wondering, how did this Christopher Brown person acquire just a little chunk of our property? No, that's not that Chris. Yes, it's somebody else, not that Chris, but based on this map, what I'm seeing, I looked up and I looked at it, you guys are taking all of my back and a big chunk from yours.
And I think those are the two surveys that we're waiting on.
And one more question.
Mhm.
And, okay, you said that the city council has to vote on this to
Mhm.
go forward. Okay, now, you do know that this is,
She said, since the city council needs to vote on this.
the city council has to vote on this. Okay, with everything and the acknowledgement that things were mishandled. And you know, and it's been identified that several of the city council members had personal gain, including Leslie when she was on council, had personal gain from when they voted. Now, how is it gonna be that this same city council get to vote on this and you all know the wrongdoing that has been done? There's a conflict of interest. I think they should recuse themselves from this because of the wrongdoing. So what do you do as city manager? Ms. McPherson, if you wanna come and talk about it, since you're mayor,
She said no.
but my thing is, how do we do this? You know, that would be crazy on our behalf to sit and know that the council that got us in this mess is being afforded the privilege to vote on this again. That can't happen. Somebody gotta get some reckoning up in here.
I mean, even in your video, it said your property value is 100, and with the new grocery store, it goes up to 400,000. Our property's right next door. Two of our properties are right next door to it. So how is that not a conflict of interest for financial gain?
So the intention of that was kind of to explain how, like, Fuquay themselves went from owning land that was worth 100,000 to.
It still stays the same, what she's, so it's a conflict of interest, like it's financial gain for certain parties, different benefits.
Yes, it is.
Like, I know it was just an illustration.
The more they talk about this, the higher the land prices are going.
There.
And then, you know, because you can't be, unbiased toward anyone else, you have to be fair. You know, even, with the city trying to make, an agreement to buy property, for, Thomas Dorsey, and to give them a museum uptown in exchange for their land. That's a conflict of interest. It's a violation. should have recused themselves from it. So somebody gotta get something right here.
No more votes on this over that. Everybody needs to be sitting down there, we can look at them when you make that vote.
And then y'all have people that you sit in your executive sessions, everything's supposed to be secret, and nobody tell anything. But you got a little mouse that go tell everything. We already knew kind of like what the map was gonna be like tonight, because somebody can't be quiet. We don't know if it's to try to entice us to get a bad reaction, but let me tell you, we're not bad people, but we are tired. We're tired now. We've been at this for over a year. Finances getting bad because we have to get up here and watch out. That's not fair to us.
So with the, because I see you have the landscaping package along the roadway, because you said it was only 4 properties, but obviously that extends further down. So how much of that comes from other people's yards? Because that looks like it's more than 4 people.
Okay, and thank you for that. Let me clarify. Like, it would be like a full acquisition. So there are definitely additional parcels involved. I think there's 16. No, but so many of those parcels don't have a home on them. Like, several of those parcels don't have a home. It's just it's
Takes away from the right to build on it later on.
only if they sell. This is everybody's choice. No, I mean,
We don't have a choice.
Are you saying I don't have to sell?
you don't have to sell. I'm sorry? No, sir. And from here to here, if you count the number of parcels, there's 16. But it's 4 homes.
Well, a lot of that's uninhabited, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I've lived there 38 years, so I know all that.
You said 2 homes on top, but I'm trying to find the other 2 homes on Garden that's gonna be impacted.
This one
Probably
and this
Monique
one.
House and Kudo House.
And actually, according to my deed, it said there was a road proposed through there in 1986. When I bought that, the road was called Belleville on my deed. The proposed road.
Really?
So that road's been proposed a long
Time ago. Yeah. You're talking about, so there was another route that was looked at, but like what we're running into on Fortune Parkway, the mitigation for the stream buffer credits would make it financially unfeasible. There's no alternate route.
So no alternate route, so it has to come through there. The people that decide they don't want to sell, what type of situation would that put them in? Like, we don't want to sell. Like, the bottom houses there have been there 100 years, like grandparents and fathers died. It's home for us, but outside individuals really don't really care. So if you're speaking eminent domain, what do we got?
But not all the parcel, only the 4 whole homes will be taken, so, I mean, it kind of.
Can you hear you?
I'm just, okay, sorry. I'm just saying, I think it partly would depend on the surveys, because only 4 entire homes would be taken, so in theory, there would be, right, I mean, well, purchased, or whatever. All right. Thanks, Quasi. All right, what I'm saying is, so if you're talking about something that's down the hill or down the road, right, that entire parcel will not have to be acquired. So, because only four entire parcels will have to be acquired.
I understand that, but I don't think you guys are looking at the effect of those parcels that it's gonna have on the rest of the homes.
Sure, and that's what I'm saying. And I don't, obviously I'm not privy to like the surveys, and like if you're talking about a piece of property and it's like 10 feet, then that's probably not as significant. If what I'm saying, only 4 whole homes will be acquired, and those are at the top, and you were referencing a home at the bottom. And I think what I'm saying is, and maybe Diana has that information, but we don't have that complete survey to see what the scope of that. I mean, it could be a foot, it could be 20 feet. We don't know. Well, I think that's what she was trying to say.
Yeah. That's so for the property owners that are directly within the route, you would receive very detailed information about what exactly we would be purchasing from you. And this is where I didn't want to kind of get back into any confusion over what a temporary construction easement is versus right-of-way versus any kind of a permanent easement, but that survey will detail to the T the meets and bounds of exactly what is being purchased, and you will receive, and I'll just hold up an example. Something like this with wording to go inside, as well as an appraisal that says this is what the city is purchasing from you, and all of that would be that's a one-on-one conversation with, if you want to hire your own attorney as well as the city's BMK. That's a individual conversation that the 16 property owners would have.
What she's saying is 4 properties are being taken entirely. The 16 is what they're gonna come back for easement. What needs to be cleared is because not all homes are lined up as if this was a cookie cutter neighborhood.
Right.
And you have to be understanding that there is a variance of how far the home has to be from the right of way. So again, that's where these easements, you have to be very mindful of how it's written, because they can come back.
Get it out.
Because once you're below that 25 feet, that gives them right to come back.
But see, once they take their 25 feet, they got a right to 10 homes.
Well, you got one more question, how many square feet are required for not living or living dwelling?
I'm sorry?
How much land is required for a living dwelling? How many square feet do you have to put a house on?
Right.
If they take away somebody's land, is that gonna make them too small an area to have their house?
That's what they.
You got so many square feet for.
Again, that's where the variance comes in. How far? Because once these stakes went out and they went in front of people's yards, again, that's where the foliage, the sidewalks, the street, because y'all changed the whole charter to allow for properties to be taken for utilities and all that other stuff. And so that's where it's gonna come back in, and you're gonna try to take these people's property.
And part of that has to do with trying to do the water line at the same time, which would benefit in terms of cost savings from doing the paving and the water line at the same time. But we're not going to do that this time. And that's why in the dates that I gave you, that's assuming this is first.
But on this drawing, you also have on Claiborne, where you are doing some road work, and you're putting in sidewalks on both sides of the street. So this starts the clock on this. So when you start talking about this 2 years from now, it was already notified this date. So you've got sidewalks on both sides of the street.
So, and I will say this is just a rendering from that perspective. Anything that's being done that's not associated with the road connector would be phased into the future. And oh, you're saying it shouldn't be on there at all?
I have a question. So you mentioned you got a grant from Norfolk for safety.
Last year. Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to cut off access to Darden Street, which leaves one way in, emergency vehicles, one way in. How is that improving the safety of that area? Leslie mentioned the reason for that parkway was to improve or bring in additional ways for emergency vehicles. You're cutting off access to my mom's house. Older people that's probably gonna need some type of emergency assistance, but now you're cutting off access to that road.
Fortune Parkway should assist with any of that because it will connect. I mean, from Fortune to the hospital, I mean.
Well, how can that connect when you say they're not crossing over Anderson Road? So how are they gonna use
We're already on a dead end, Garden Street, my mom's house is already on a dead end.
Yeah.
So you're just giving us one way out.
If you have a tree, let's say you got a tree right here, over Louise, let's say you got a tree right here.
There's no
How,
way.
they can't get in and out, or power lines, whatever. How can emergency vehicles get in here if somebody had an emergency while that was happening? You wouldn't be able to, because it's only one way in and out there.
And I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I think just about every road on Cleghorn has the same situation.
No, it's two ways in and out.
I didn't say Darden, I said Cleghorn. Every other
We're not
street.
talking about
But yes, we are. This is an entire community.
We're talking,
Every
she's
road.
asking about this right now.
I understand. I do understand what you're saying, and that does pose, but I was going to say every street on Cleghorn ends in a cul-de-sac with one way in and out.
Why'd y'all come over there anyway? It ain't making no sense. Why would you come over there? It's a safety hazard. That just wouldn't make no sense.
We're not expected to be there. We're not expected to be there.
In old school Villa Rica, they zoned the blacks out of the city. That's why we're in that little spot we're in now. Over time, that has became prime real estate. So now it's like, we gotta come through. First, we didn't want you to be a part of the city. Now you're the city. So.
And we still don't want you to be a part of the city, so we're gonna take your land.
Right.
Tired of your land.
You got a certain amount of land you can get in this area. Say something catastrophic happens, a house gets a fire, tree falls, whatever, wind blows it away, well, is the city gonna come back and say, well, no, you know, we got this land over here, now you ain't got enough acres now to build a house back on it. We're gonna take that land too. Yep. We just got a lot of time and love invested in the community.
I understand.
Nothing against.
Oh, no, I understand.
It's just home for us.
Yeah.
So to give it to the city.
So they say no. So the residents say no. That's it.
That road is very important, it's for the golf cart.
And there's nothing downtown.
Why would you start with downtown?
I would suggest you invest in building up downtown Villa Rica first. Then it may make sense. We still won't sell, but it may make a little better sense. You build up, like, what is that road taking me to the mill? And that's it. It's nothing downtown. And I know it's this big conversation, oh, we're gonna build up downtown Villa Rica. I've been in Villa Rica 46 years and
Not
they've
one
been
thing
built up one
built,
time.
not one.
So I don't see how that's happening. I would like to see what's proposed.
We used to have a movie theater in Villa Rica. You know that?
So we're just taking the brunt of this. Please don't take it personal.
Nope. Nope.
Just the person put in front of us that hear our complaints, our frustrations.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They already know how we feel. Why they put you up here? Because they already got it. We already told them how we feel. They put you up here. Yeah, they already know. I don't know why they put you up here.
Let me get him first. I'll take 2 questions and then we'll go back to the list. Sorry. Here.
You know, I was riding through Douglasville down 78 down there, you know, downtown. And I was saying to my mom, I said, look at how inclusive it is. There were whites, there were blacks, there were people, it was just, there were things to do, places to go, places to sit down and eat. So, you know, it just, like she said, it makes a lot more sense when your downtown is thriving. Yeah. But right now, we got tired entertainment at the meal, the tired Christmas lights inside there. I mean, we go downtown to pass through to get to the other side, but
Can I say
there
something
is
about
nothing there.
Yeah.
Can I just say something about downtown?
Yeah.
All right. So in 2015, I was elected. I first started volunteering in Villa Rica, and my first thing was on the Villa Rica Main Street board, and eventually became president of the Villa Rica Main Street board. Now, a lot of y'all know I'm an attorney. Okay, do a lot of law practicing over in Dallas. Okay, and in Villa Rica and Carrollton. In 2015, 2016, 2017, I had lawyer after lawyer in Dallas come to me and say, we really like going to Villa Rica. They got little restaurants. Back then we had Gabe's, we had Uncorked, we had things, Cinema Tavern, things. People like going to Villa Rica. In the last couple of years, though, with the economics and whatnot, things, Gabe's moved, had their situation, and Dallas grew up. Dallas now has their Dallas markets, and you go down there and it's all lit up and pretty. But even Dallas right now is going back, and they've got a sort of their own TAD, and they're modifying. They built a bunch of property for a park and all that. You're speaking about Douglasville. There was a time not too long ago that Douglasville was basically gumbos, and that's it. It's not that anymore, because if you build it, they will come. What did Douglasville do? Douglasville built their whole new amphitheater down there, right? And then they built that sky bridge that goes over Church Street. I'm just saying. All I'm saying is it's going to take some investment. It's going to take some investment, and I think so. When you talk about, we've been talking about doing this. No, I completely understand that. I'm not saying this is apples to apples. I'm just talking about the viability and future of downtown in Villa Rica. There was a time and I've only been in Villa Rica since 2012, but there was a time in my time in Villa Rica when Villa Rica, you would look at Villa Rica and be like, Villa Rica's got like the best downtown in West Georgia. I mean, maybe besides Carrollton at best, right? And now Villa Rica has kind of fallen back, and I really want to see Villa Rica get back to the top again on downtown. So when people talk about downtown and all that and bringing downtown back, I'm all about that. Now, I understand this. We're not here to talk about downtown, but I just want to address, because it wasn't too long ago that Gumbo's was it downtown Douglasville. It wasn't too long ago. So how do we get that vibrant downtown in Douglasville? In Villa Rica. How do we get the vibrancy you see in Douglasville, where they have their food court, not food court, their food trucks, and they have all kinds of events and people getting together? We definitely need that in Villa Rica. I agree. So.
They built all that stuff before they shut that road down in Douglasville. All that stuff was there. Then they done road construction to get people there.
Yeah, it's
build the roads and then put the stuff.
Well, it's a lot like what they did in Carrollton when they had all that. They made that part of Bankhead one lane, because sometimes you start seeing, oh well, we got a lot of foot traffic here, we got a lot of this, so let's go in and modify things. So yeah, I agree. Yes, sir. Right. No, I understand. Well, like I said.
I understand we got to grow and all that, but that's just a tree planting way down the road. That's a lot of people got the ball, and this is not following them.
No, I understand what you're saying.
We able to infrastructure the plan, and it's already got the wheels falling off, so we just gonna go ahead and knock y'all out of the way too. It don't make no sense.
Again, like I said earlier, we're talking about mistakes made in the last couple of years. I think at this point it would be another mistake to kill it. I think that's the situation, but. But that would be another mistake. I understand. I'm not from here originally. I can't. Hey, that's GDOT though. That's not on me, Josh. That's GDOT. Anyway.
Hey.
I know a little about what's going on, and it seems like a lot of times, right now, it seems like you guys are just spinning the wheels. So the best thing, I'm a real stickler about the rules, okay? So the best thing, and I got a couple of people that sent for me, okay? So the best thing for residents here to do is send this to 8700 Hospital Drive, a lawsuit.
That's the only thing that's gonna actually stop it. And what I did, and I was running kind of late because my computer, I have the Enlighten notice to serve, the county. I don't know if the mayor's here. And, okay. Well, thank you. So, also, this will, and I'll make sure you all get it the right way, you know, certified coming to the office, because everybody should get a copy. It's at Leslie McPherson. Okay, it's at Dinah DeSoto. All right, oh, right.
Take my copy right here.
Are you serving?
I guess so.
I think it's really best, and you all will get, these are courtesy copies, but I give the original, the real deal thing, because it'd be best to take this to court and.
It's an anti-LIDA note, it's not an ad-LIDA note.
Well,
okay?
look, hold on.
All right.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
And like I said, I found out this at the last minute, okay? So my computer was acting up, and there's a lot of things. However, it is a start, because once you receive this notice, and like I said, you receive the proper notice tomorrow, that's when the wheels get turning, and you guys, they're open up, you put on notice, and you can go to court. And all of this needs to be in court. It really does. Because these people, they deserve more. They deserve better. They deserve.
Did you draft this?
Listen.
Did you prepare this? Can I ask you a question, please? Did you prepare this?
What I said was there was an issue with my.
Prepare it.
Yes.
Are you a lawyer?
Hold on.
Are you a lawyer?
Listen.
As a member of the State Bar of Georgia,
I am
ask you a question. Are you a lawyer?
I am not. Well, let me.
Okay, so that is unauthorized practice of law.
Listen. You can attack me all you want to, but I'm ready for it. Okay, I'm ready for it. But when I'm saying I specialize in legal research. Research.
I'm a lawyer. Guess what?
Well,
I specialize in legal research.
You know
too.
what? And
Also,
if you have, listen, sir, I'm not going to argue with you about that. What I'm going to tell you,
cited multiple statutes in this
sir,
that you called an ad
listen, say what you want to say.
Go ahead.
My issue
You did a
is
good job.
these people need help. And so I'm going to help.
Ma'am, they need help and they don't need some.
No. The problem is I'm doing something ain't nobody else did. I'm doing something nobody else did.
Ma'am, why didn't you hire a real lawyer to send a real anti-LIDA?
All I have to do is thank you. But
Even though we don't know a letter talk, but you should have been that active before
well, all I'm saying is I'm not doing what I'm. Listen. All I'm doing is, where's the mayor? Let me drop this off.
We don't know her. I can't sell so much to say. And it wouldn't be involved.
Yes, ma'am. Probably in the next 30 days.
So, January city council meeting, this should be brought and be part of the agenda for the city council to vote on. So everyone make sure you are here, the city council meeting in January.
Is it January or is it actually December? Because y'all are supposed to have a decision to them by December 31st.
So I had hoped originally to put it on December's agenda. I just think with the volume of people and questions and comments tonight, it might be a little premature. I will say this, it would be noticed. It obviously would be a part of the agenda and it would be noticed. There's nothing that can be added. December's agenda is pretty heavy, but so is January's. And it's December 10th is the December meeting. That's next Tuesday. Work session 1:30, and the council meeting's at 6. In January, it changes. So our work session is January 7th at 10 a.m. and the meeting is January 14th at 6 p.m. But all of that will be noticed. Thank you. Do we want to?
I'm not an attorney, but I specialize in legal research. Hopefully, some of you guys will have a chance. I would guide them to a proper attorney. So you all will be in court and get your justice. You got to get justice. You got to start somewhere. Thank you. You really got to start somewhere. And he's an attorney. He's not going to.
Okay, we have 25. Oh, yep. Okay.
Will we see any kind of detail that shows what that road rate looks like? I'm wondering, what is her impact in this type of house? Her getting in and out, what is that gonna be to her? So do we see a level of detail somewhere? Sometimes we go out on the way.
So.
But then I'm like, it's gonna be like highways beside her house.
Mm-hmm.
I've been listening, as everyone talked tonight, and I still haven't gotten an answer as to what value the parkway, the connector is bringing to the community. Everything I've heard tonight has been negative. First, we get the video, the increase in taxes. Most of the people in the area are elderly people. Some may not be able to pay their taxes. So I'm trying to figure out, and no one has said it, what value is the road, the parkway? What is it, what value is it bringing to the community, and who's paying for it? My understanding, the people within that area are the ones that's paying, and I think I heard a little bit on a special meeting that you all had in Carroll, where if they have to, you all have to continue to increase the homeowners' property taxes in order to pay for it, as opposed to, since it's gonna benefit the entire city of Villa Rica, why not let all of Villa Rica be funded and paid for?
So that's very, very good question. I'll start with the first part about the benefits of the Parkway Connector. And, you know, ultimately, transportation is number one. It's a road. There's multiple forms of transportation with the sidewalks coming into play as well. You know, granted, I understand, you know, in terms of Darden losing access there, that's a frustration. But a lot of what we heard from the community prior was wanting to leave Darden alone and make the community whole. So the thought process was, by pulling it down just south and going north of McCauley, that a majority of the neighborhood remained intact, and that it created, again, that connection point from, you know, Mirror Lake to the hospital and then down to downtown. So ultimately the benefit, you're right, it's not just in the community, it's for everyone. As to
We ain't even gonna, the Alderman won't even be able to utilize that road, if you think about it. They come in
There's no benefit to Darby Street at all.
Got a lot of Louise, you might look a lot of Anderson and catch Anderson.
Yeah, that's making up. That's the way that they keep it around the backside of town to get to the train.
That's the way that's gonna roll.
as far as who pays for it, it is paid for essentially by everyone in the community. The difference is in terms of the way the tax bill, and I was sincere, and I understand Doug's point about, you know, it's easier to meet with one person, it's easier to hold a community meeting than it is to meet with one person individually, but a tax bill is it's a very personal thing. Everybody's situation is different, whether it's, you know, homestead, whether you have, you know, senior exemptions, whatever exemptions you may have, what your base value was, it's different from person to person. But it is important to understand how that tax bill breakdown, to understand what the difference of what was going into the general fund for maintenance and operations of the day-to-day city versus what is then set aside to pay the debt service on the road.
So basically, the city is gonna balance its checkbook off our community.
There's no added millage to one community over another. The millage rate set in the city is one millage rate.
I got an extra $900 in my taxes, and
it says
my house, and it says TAD. I brought it to you.
No, you did, and we went through it.
You know what my house is. Y'all done had Jeff Reese up there with his drones and everything. Y'all done looked at everything. So y'all know the parcel that the home sits on. Y'all know I don't have any business paying over $2,000 a year in those taxes. Y'all know better than that. Y'all know. Y'all know. Over $2,000. Should nobody in that community be paying that type of money? But see, I'm gonna get mine back out of here. I'm gonna get mine back out of here. I'm gonna take it to court. The right way with the
Well,
action.
it seems
I
to
want
me
the right
like
way. With the action.
what's gonna benefit from all this is the Villa Rica.
Right. Right.
The whole town, miles in any direction, is gonna be impacted by that.
Yeah.
It's already is.
Right.
It's been zoned, townhomes and multiple use and business. So it's already, the community's already big. It's gonna be a lot bigger.
It is. It is.
It'll grow another 10,000 people in 2 years.
You know, kids graduate and all that stuff, you know, you gotta have housing for them. And when they go to college or whatever, you know, there's gonna be a lot more traffic there.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter if it's Georgia, New York, California, whatever. You know, and traffic right now is backed up all the way on 78 and 61. You know, I mean, it's hours every day to go from one place to the other.
Especially during rush hour.
Yeah, I mean, it's really bad.
That road on Anderson Road right there?
I'm sorry?
The road you got on Anderson Road.
Fortune? Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want.
No, mine. It's not my name.
Going this way, it'll be a big boat. What you gonna put on that road? That's what
Inline Communities has a plan for, now, down here, nothing. This is the proposed area for the park. This is one of the two. It is. We own this.
15 Anderson Road ain't
No,
safe.
sir, we own this one. This is city.
Yeah, you own that. You
Yeah.
don't own on the other side.
No, this one right here, this piece right here is where we're looking at for, right there, behind the apartments. Going up Fortune Parkway, that's where they have planned their, yeah, that's where they've got single-family townhomes and apartments, inline communities. Wow.
Commercial property when they come see me. At 215 Anderson Road, it's gonna be commercial property when they come see me. I got to have 1.5.
Yes, Miss Jackie. So, so the citizens voted, I believe it was 2018 for the redevelopment powers, which created the ability to set the TAD. It was, that was on the ballot.
Look at how you worded it. Look at how it was worded.
He's, yes. I know. But the only citizen-wide, like citywide citizen vote when it comes to a project like this is for the redevelopment powers that create the ability for the city to set a TAD. Yeah.
There can be. It's just, do you have any elected officials that's gonna step forward and say there's wrongdoing? And are they gonna file the ethical complaints so that it can move forward? You don't have anyone to do that because everybody's hands dirty, you know, and mine, you know, and I'll say I'm assuming because, you know, your attorney might wanna sue you. But Mr. Carter, Stephanie Walmart, I don't know if Anna here, Miss Shirley, you know, they won't file the complaints The complaints there, the problems are there, the wrongdoing is there, but no one was heard. Because if Matthew Bow, I'll say for instance on Leslie, you know, you can't do that to me, I got something on you. For everybody being still.
I think citizens can file complaints, they don't have to be.
Listen, but if it got to go to somebody else that's just as dirty as you, what good is that gonna do me? It ain't gonna do me no good.
They're trying to find a way to early cancel it.
I think the challenge, whether it's a citizen-wide vote or council vote, right? The challenge ultimately lies in the fact that all of the agreements have been signed.
Not all of them, not the property owners. We have to sign any agreement. Not none.
Oh.
So you can't say all the agreements have been signed, because they haven't. No, ma'am.
Meaning, if there is not a connector road built, a judge will force the city to build a connector road. I did not. I talked to bond counsel, and that was basically the legal advice that they said. It wasn't about $20 million, and it was. They said they did not say anything about the money. They said it will be for specific performance to build the road. I can assure you, I promise you guys, this is not how I wanted my interim city manager start to be. If there was a way to get out of this, I promise, it would have been top of the list. Yes, Ms. Shirley.
Yes, I am the representative of Ward 1. I have, from the start, I have always said I didn't want Mirror Lake. I'm one vote. I can't speak for the others. I said I didn't want the roadway to come through because it's helping out for Mirror Lake. And I was trying to represent my people as in my ward, not just one race. But I did say I did not want it. I have always said I didn't want it. When you all said, when they said they didn't want it to go down Darden Street, I stood up for that. I'm one vote. If the rest of them vote for something, I don't have any control for that. Yes, Pam would call me. I would try to tell her which way to go. I tell her that. She can tell you that. Anybody else ask me about anything that's going on in the city, I'll try to direct them to the right place to go. That's all I can do. I have stood up for Ward 1. It didn't do any good because I was outvoted. So when you say the council, yeah, I'm on the council, so that I'm included. But I'm still one person. And I have tried, a lot of times, I did stuff behind the scenes that nobody knew about. When you had the other people that was the city manager and so forth, I argued for this people. I argued for things to go right. But I was still one vote. So I couldn't help that. Things that happened, no, he's not here. But anyway, I have stood up for you all, for us, because I'm a part of it too. So when you say council, yeah, I know I'm part of the council, I'm one. So I take blame for some of it. Yeah, I voted some things after you see it where I see I can't go no further. Yes, I did put my vote. But I did stand up and say what I felt like was good for the community. They can tell you from when they first started talking about Mirror Lake, I was saying no, because I felt like everything was going to Mirror Lake. So I fought for this side. And if anybody that can tell you that, they can tell you I did. But my vote is one vote. So what happened, I'm with you all. I try to stand up for you. The little bit you did, yeah, y'all keep complaining about that little basketball court. We didn't even have anything over here. And I kept fussing and kept fussing. well, what you gonna do about the east side? I said, and I did say, I said, at least give them a basketball court if you're not gonna give anything. So they did put it over there, and they complained about that. Then when they said that we was gonna take the basketball court and we wasn't gonna do anything, I was still saying, give them something besides the basketball court. Yeah, Miss Pam would always come to me and talk about they didn't have a bathroom. I took that to the council. Not to the council, but to where I was supposed to take it.
Tom Barber, and he said, about that, he said, the boys can go to the woods and use that. He told me right outside his door. But my thing is, we as paying citizens, we pay more taxes in the city than anybody. It's evident now. We pay more than anyone. So we shouldn't have to beg for anything.
Well,
It should be afforded
that's why
to
I
us.
say I fight for us to get more things.
But they don't respect you.
I
They're
know,
gonna be honest, they don't
and see,
respect
it's a lot of things that I'm being accused of,
They don't
and not
respect
by everybody, that I don't know anything about. A lot of things that happen up with the upper stuff that, like you said, the council don't get all the information sometimes. I agree with that. But I just want my name clear, and I just want to know that I'm still gonna fight for everybody. Whether it goes through, whether it happens, and you all can come to me, my mouth getting dry, cause of fussing. But, I mean, I'm trying to stand up for I'm only one vote. We got 4 more. But I'm still gonna fight for us. And that's all I can do.
That's all we ask.
That's all I can do.
Isn't that a
See, I kept saying, Dodge Street, they don't want it, so let's try something else. And then they went and did another way. But I'm standing up for y'all. And when I say y'all, I don't mean just the black people, I mean everybody.
And we're communities, black,
And-
white,
and-
Hispanic.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Don't care what
It's just
color.
not one people. So whatever goes, whatever happens in the very end, y'all will know that I did stand up for you, and I'm gonna continue to stand up for you. So when I hear this stuff, but some of them that don't even live in the community, be talking about I don't do anything with black folks. I don't represent the black folks. I have been representing y'all all this time. Maybe y'all didn't see it, and I don't mean y'all talking about the naysayers that's running their mouth. That don't even live over in that community, don't even live close to it, don't even live in the city limits. They be sitting up talking. So
Is, part
that's
of
what
this
I want to
initiative-
say, that you all know I'm with you all regardless. And I'm gonna keep standing up for you. So when you say that the council, I know I'm a part of the council, so that's 5 of us. But I want you all to know that when we go to the table, I'm standing up for you. No, I told them about that part. I didn't, when they said they were gonna cut off the Garden Street, I didn't like that. But I'm just one. And I'm still gonna keep fighting. But if it goes through, you all have I know you say you don't trust people. But you'll know that I did my part when I stood up to try to fight for it. That's all I can say.
Does the city have another meeting planned to discuss this project?
Not a community meeting, but it will be heard before council to resume the project, essentially. So in June or July, there was a resolution passed to halt and for the city manager to present an alternate route. So for anything to move forward, there would have to be a resolution to essentially undo that resolution.
So it's gonna be a closed door session, basically.
Mm-mm.
Okay, yeah. So it's gonna be public.
Yeah.
So we all could be here and look at you when you make that vote.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so, we submit, the ethics complaints, we go to City Hall, is it to Teresa? Or can we do the ethics complaint and bring them to Chief Mansour?
I am not 100% on that procedure. I don't think it goes to the chief. I would, is that the district attorney? The city, okay, city clerk. Thank you. Thank you. They shouldn't, yeah. Hang on. Stephanie's gonna mention something about Pam's comment. Yeah.
I actually looked all this up. So, Hannah just did the newly elected officials training not too long ago. So, because we don't have an ethics commission, any ethics complaints would go to the city clerk.
Okay, Teresa, okay.
Thank you. I've heard everything you said tonight, and I appreciate you taking the time out to just entertain a meeting with us, because we've been asking for over a year, as you know. But my concern and my question is, there are several projects that you somewhat address very vaguely, and I'm really concerned still, because I'm walking away not fully understanding how this could impact my family property on 216 Anderson Road. What everybody don't know is they were entertaining my family property because they explained to everyone that nobody would be impacted and no one would lose their homes. That they would only have to take the land that was in a flood zone, that nobody would lose their home. And now we done paddled back up to this, to where, and I know you're saying, Alita, that it costs so much and all of that, but they went out for 4 or 5 days on my family property, mapped out the road, put all the little tags everywhere, did not give us any information as to what they were doing, told me that they could not discuss any of this with me and my family. And I didn't hear nothing about this until tonight, so I did not know. But you did all of that, paid all that money on my family's property. So I need to know, in front of all these people, are y'all leaving my family property along at 216 Anderson Road?
Yes.
Okay, I'm holding, everybody, we holding them.
Yes. There's stream credits that would be owed to mitigate that would be astronomical.
Okay, well, we good.
Yeah.
We gonna stay now.
I'm sorry? Yes, sir. Over the next several weeks. We're working to finalize the surveys on Macaulay Street, and then kind of just step by step, one by one. Mickey with BM&K is working through that.
Are you saying Macaulay Street? Yeah. What is Macaulay Street?
Macaulay Street is just here. So there's survey work that's yes.
And they were saying, I was more concerned about Miss Knoll than mine. 30 feet, they wanted 30 feet from the middle line to the edge. That would put Joyce, the street will be up in Joyce's front door.
Yeah.
And if you come 30 feet to the other side of my church, when they come out the door of my gym and stuff, the street will be sitting out, the street will be sitting right at the front door of my gym.
I think Miss Knowles was one of the 4.
Okay. I give me 2.5 million, we'll put on down there.
Yes. We have time for maybe one more question.
Is there any negotiating on this property sale?
Yes.
There is, okay. So I can negotiate.
Yes, sir. Just not with me. But yes, sir.
I'll negotiate with the city attorney.
Actually, we're using a third party, BM&K.
So they don't care.
So let me say this. Anybody that's approached with an appraisal and a price and a negotiation takes place, anything that is agreed to will then have to go back to council for approval.
So when do you think they're gonna start on this road right here? This part. I live right here. 5 acres. They're gonna displace me totally, probably.
So
how long have I got to be here before I got to move? You have an idea?
I can guess, but it would be a guess. And it's the same that I told this woman earlier when she asked, and that was that it would be very aggressive to say that we will have a contractor out there in 6 months. And that would be aggressive.
Okay.
And that there would be relocation that we could help, yeah. Mhm.
We had a meeting about that
Yeah.
over at the library.
Yep, yes, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, it is 8 o'clock. Thank you all for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it.